Hello everyone. Welcome to this video series on the organization of Basic09 I-Code modules. I hope you find this series informative and educational. This introduction will focus on my background and how I came to understand I-Code. I will be using my web document, The Structure of I-Code, as the basis of the discussion presented in these videos. The link to this page is in the video description below. Also in the description is a playlist of these videos, as well as a list of videos in this series individually. I have opted to not use my own voice in these videos as I have issues with breathing that cause phlegm to develop, making my voice sound coarse and for me to clear my throat repeatedly. I don't think that lends to a well-recited dialogue, so I am using the Microsoft Voice, Guy Natural, to speak in my behalf. The dialogue spoken was written entirely by me with no aid from AI. Before I got my Cocoa 2 in 1988, and later my Cocoa 3 in 1989, my only real experience with computer programming was a prereq course I took at a Dallas community college in 1981. There, the class wrote our first basic programs on IBM PCs. It was a start, but not enough to call myself a programmer. Back in the early 1990s I started work on an ambitious project. The only thing I knew about programming was what I had taught myself using Basic09 to write small utilities. I had not developed the habit of making copies of my code, and was repeatedly losing the only copy I had, left with only the packed module as proof I had written anything at all. I decided to write a program that would give me my source code back by, what I called then, decompiling the module. The result was decom. Apparently I was the only person to have actually written a program to do so. There was a rumor of someone who also did it, but it was never confirmed, and the only proof was they had listed a decompiled source file through a live chat on some information service server. I was never able to validate it, so as far as I was concerned, and still am, I was the only person to write a module decompiler. Writing decom gave me the majority of my understanding of I-Code modules and how they are organized. However, I still didn't understand the first table after the I-Code area. I was able to decode it for the most part, but the type statement data was difficult to decode. Later, when I started writing decode, I was able to better understand that table, but it was writing unpack that really made the difference. I was able to get information previously unknown to me that helped explain it all. Alan Sheltra, owner of Fat Cat Publications and Animagic Productions and editor of the OS9 Underground magazine, saw my work and was impressed. He asked me if I was interested in making the program available for sale, and told me that he would act as the distributor through his magazine. He also took copies to the 1992 Atlanta Cocoa Fest. When he came back from the fest, he told me he had lost money on the whole deal, and despite selling 9 copies of decom couldn't pay me anything. I was just happy to know he sold 9 copies, so I let it go and never received a single penny for the copies sold. I have never regretted that decision. The only regret I have is that, as far as I know, no one who bought a copy ever sent in the registration card so I would know who bought decom. Moving forward, the day came when I had to sell my Cocoa 3 system in order to purchase an Apple Macintosh Quadra 605. The Cocoa 2 had been sold years earlier. The idea was that I would use that computer to try and earn income from the use of it. I won't bore you with the details of how and why that never came to fruition, although I did buy the computer and did attempt to learn something from it. In 1999 I started classes at DeVry Institute as it was going through its accreditation process to become DeVry University. I was able to learn COBOL there, but never advanced far enough to learn C++ beyond a basic level before I had to quit due to lack of funds to pay tuition. I was 2 semesters short of graduating and getting that bachelor's degree. At least I had gained enough credits to have the equivalent of an associate's degree. In 2004 I acquired a Windows Vista laptop from a pawn shop, and was able to return to decom. I had managed to hold on to a printout of the source code where I had left off on the development, but without OCR I had to manually type the code into a text editor to get it back on a system. That is when I found the Cocoa List email list. I joined and began communicating with members of the list. That is when I officially met L. Curtis Boyle, who had only been a name from the past that I knew of, but never officially met. Curtis and I began what continues to be a good and useful relationship for developing Basic09 and, what I then began writing as decom's replacement, decode. Why replace decom, you ask? Well, it's because I realized how much I didn't know when I wrote it that I now had a better understanding of. My time at DeVry wasn't a total waste. I could barely read the code I had written, and understood it even less. I decided it had been too long and needed to start over, using my newfound understanding of code to help me write a better version of the program. Decode was intended to be the engine that did the work of decoding the I-Code module, and then Unpack, when I got around to writing it, would be the main program that parsed through merge module files, finding and decoding the I-Code modules and skipping over any object code modules it found. I have been continuing that work ever since. In the meantime, I also found the Cocoa Discord and have been an active member there since October 28, 2017. Unpack finally became a reality in the past month. Decode still has a small issue that Unpack is inheriting, but I now have a better understanding of I-Code, and hopefully soon the issues with Decode and Unpack will be resolved. Which brings me to the reason for these videos. I want to make a video record of how a Basic09 I-Code subroutine module is organized, with explanations for some of the more unusual aspects of the code. This intro has gotten long enough. Thanks for watching and showing an interest in this series. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next video. I don't ask people to subscribe to this channel, but I will ask for a like if you liked the video and found it useful. The links to both the web document and the Discord address are in the descriptions of each video in this series.